on the topics that we have exposed. Daniela is here with me.
Hello.
What is the topic for tonight? Well, as usual now, usual since last Sunday, we are taking a few excerpts from a very good book called Psychological Commentaries on the Teachings of Gurdjieff and Ouspensky. This was written by Maurice Nicoll, a Scottish psychologist who had the uncommon luck of being a disciple of Carl Gustav Jung and George Gurdjieff. Now, a very lucky soul, I would say, but we are also lucky because we can enjoy his works in the form of these books like the one I've mentioned. So what do we do with his book, which is, by the way, pretty large? I'm taking some excerpts, some small portions that we will use every time as the core of our conversation. That is normally sent beforehand to our group so they can read what it's about, and sometimes there will be a question or just for reflection. So let's start with the topics for tonight. And the first one is about the mystery of existence. And let me quote Nicoll. People take this mystery of their own existence and the universe for granted. It is only when one begins to feel and ponder this mystery that it becomes possible to awaken from sleep. This capacity is called magnetic center. The mystery taken for granted. We look around or we look inside. We may see a lot of things, but are we actually looking? Or perhaps we are absorbed, identified with some casual thought or feeling, and we are basically blind. Well, if we are able to see, then the mystery is pretty visible, pretty clear. How can we not feel amazed at the perfection and the harmony of the creatures that surround us? How can we not feel the profound respect and awe for the way the human bodies are organized and designed, and the way they interact with the physical reality and the inner reality? Think of a butterfly. The beauty of the wings of a butterfly. Do you really believe they can come out of chance and random development? Well, I just hope your answer is no, because then you're missing out a lot. But if you prefer, of course, you're free to do so. So the mystery, feeling the mystery, that means we want to find out about it. What is the solution? What is the explanation of the endless amount of riddles that surround us in any direction? Why do we behave the way we do? Why do things are the way they are? What is our origin? What is our goal, if there is one? And if you don't look, then you will certainly not find it. But if you search, so the need to feel the mystery of life, of the universe, and of oneself mostly, is a fundamental condition to actually start any serious work on oneself. The second point is about inner stability. You think you are stable? Let's hear from Maurice Nicoll. Other feelings of oneself are possible that are not derived from life and personality. And these feelings give a man a sense of stability that nothing outside him can take away. And it is from these feelings that a man begins to feel himself free, because they depend on nothing outside him or her. Personality, roughly speaking, lives by comparison with others. Real I does not exist through comparison. We have to make something very strong in ourselves with the help of the work, little by little, so that we can withstand the shifting scene, moments of happiness followed by moments of depression, moments of hope followed by moments of despair, in order that we may have a center of gravity within ourselves. A certain point of consciousness that is invulnerable. This is the beginning of the birth of real I in you, which is not influenced by outer circumstances. One then works the other way around. That is, the machine formerly driven by outer events is now worked from within, from what is higher than life. Creating something which is unshakable inside. So it's not sufficient to hear a certain word said in a certain way to completely change our day into a bad day, to not depend on a bad memory coming back to life to feel depressed all of a sudden. This sort of stability is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, we're just leaves in the wind. We can be pushed in any direction without any ability to resist. Then we have no chance whatsoever to progress in our inner search and in the creation of something which eventually we want to be immortal. Here we are not just talking about improving your memory or manifesting a new car. We're talking about creating something inside which is relatively to our body of a higher level. So compared to the physical level of nature, could be considered immortal. And stability, creating a core around which other things will then congregate, is the starting point. When we say you should not depend on outer circumstances, we mean that what happens outside, which we normally cannot change, or we can change in a small degree, will not trigger mechanical responses or reactions inside of us that will pull us or push us in a certain direction. So, if we feel like we have a core inside, that withstands the weather, the wind, and all the recurring memories and feelings of the past or fears of the future, then we are creating a root in reality, a connection with a part of us which belongs to a higher realm. Some would say these are the higher or superior intellectual center or the superior emotional center. In other words, we might say that is the divine part within us that becomes the master and the controller of our human being. So instead of being pushed and pulled by the outer circumstances through our associations, it's the real part within us that decides what we will do or how we will respond to outer circumstances. So that is the beginning of freedom. We have a third quote here from Nicole. That's about the trajectory of work. You may be sure that once your evaluation of the work is strong enough and you hear it enough and reflect upon it enough, you will see gradually unfolding the mystery of your own development. This mystery is different in each person. That is why it is so important not to compare yourself to other people. A great deal of negative emotions arises from comparison. Remember always that the work is equally difficult for everyone. And then that it doesn't become easier. It is always difficult. And yet, it's not too difficult if one will remember enough and maintain a certain inner strength of will in regard to it. So, why is comparison so forbidden and unadvisable? The only person with which I would suggest you compare yourself is yourself yesterday. Have you been able to improve on something that you didn't like about yourself? Have you been able to do without a certain self-pity? Or have you been able to do without the complaints that you used to make? Now, these are useful comparisons if you want. But comparing yourself with others is the source of envies, jealousies, resentment, a feeling of powerlessness, a feeling of superiority. So all of these are bad side effects that will not make you any better, but rather they will, guess what, make you worse. So what you want to do with regards to work is always keep in mind that this is the most precious part inside of you that is slowly forming itself and becoming more complete. And it will do so in proportion to your effort. And while it may feel difficult, it's good to hear that is just as difficult for everyone. But it doesn't mean it's not worth doing. That means you have to gather your strength and your willpower if you want to do it. And the reward will be so big, so unthinkable at the beginning, that you will be so happy you've made that effort. You will not regret it. But don't take my word for it. Just do it if you like and see for yourself. Before we go to the private part of our meeting, I'd like to suggest a little practice for relaxing and probing our interior landscape. So if you would like, follow us in this, let's call it guided meditation or active imagination exercise. So feel free to relax, close your eyes, take a comfortable position on your chair, and start feeling your body from the inside. There is a little point that we call the observer that can look at your body from the inside. It's in the center of your head. We call it the pineal gland sometimes. So let's observe our body. If there is any tension, direct your attention to it. Ask your body to release that tension. Become conscious of your breath. Feel your heart beating. It may be felt in different parts of your body, not just in your chest. Turn your inner attention to the center of your chest now, where emotions may be present. And remain aware of your observer. Feel it in action while it looks at your emotions. It's there. That's your gateway to your real I. Finally, turn your inner look towards your mind. There may be thoughts. Just observe. Don't take part in any of them. You are not your thoughts. What you are is, rather, the observer looking at your thoughts. So at the same time, you are feeling your body, your feelings, you're seeing your thoughts, and you're feeling the observer. You are very relaxed. And now, imagine yourself. You are at the border of a desert. It's a beautiful day, and it's a sand desert. Of course, there are dunes, and you would like to walk into this desert. So you start to walk. Feel free to walk as long as you like, and make a note of what you see, what you feel, what happens. I'm walking in my desert as well. I will see you soon. We are still walking in the desert. Let us now return to our base camp. We turn around and walk back to the starting point. Still observing everything, feeling present. And now we return to our base camp. We can stretch a little bit. Take a deep breath, or maybe more. And we shall now reconnect after I stop the recording. For all of our friends who are not present in the meeting but see the recording, thank you for being with us. Get in touch with us if you would like. We will post an email address for you in the description of the video. So until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And I'm happy to stay with you. This is a good exercise for me. Stay here for look inside. Bye-bye.
We take every opportunity for self-observation. See you soon.